Hi, welcome to Lesson 10, Low Fidelity Prototyping. Here's where we start to blur the lines from designing alternatives into actually manifesting prototypes of your designs. By the end of this lecture, you'll be able to distinguish conceptual design from concrete design, explain the purpose of prototyping, describe different fidelities of prototyping, and list 4 methods for low fidelity prototyping. Let's start with conceptual design. And I want to ask you a question. When I say conceptual design, what do you think I mean? Maybe it's something like this.
My name is Dane. I'm sorry. What can I do for you? I'm heading the design team that's building the enclosure for the box. It's time for the concept meeting. Concept meeting. Okay. I'm just going to show you a few pictures, and you tell me which ones you like, okay? Okay, sure. Hold on. I thought you were going to show me pictures of boxes, like data storage devices. Before I can actualize a box, you and I need to develop a shared aesthetic vocabulary.
So when I'm talking about conceptual design, I might mean something a little bit different. Let's take an example and walk through it. The Amazon Echo. What is the conceptual design versus the concrete design here? Well, the conceptual design would be an outline of what people can do with a product and what concepts are needed to understand how to interact with it. So with our example of the Echo, there's a physical thing called an Echo that allows you to communicate with an agent called Alexa using your voice. The Echo has a volume value that can be changed. Whereas the concrete design is more concerned with concrete detail. For example, there is a visual appearance. It's this gray fabric-looking thing around plastic, I think, maybe some metal. There are 2 volume buttons, which are mapped to being able to control that volume value. You get Alexa's attention by saying, Alexa. There's a defined set of tasks that Alexa knows how to do. So this idea of thinking about the concepts behind your design versus the concrete appearance or set of things that your users interact with can be very useful to distinguish the two. Conceptual design really matters because you can structure systems in many different ways. So assume you're designing something like a website. Is the site just a collection of linked pages? Or is it a hierarchy of pages with some cross-links? Is there some inherent structure to the pages that you're working with? If you're designing breadcrumbs for website navigation, do they show the history of the pages that you've gone through to arrive there? Or do they show the place of this page in the hierarchy? Is it a path that you care about? Or is it where you are in the site? And you may want both of these things. If you're designing support for discussion groups, is this a set of threaded lists, one for each subject, or a set of posts with potentially related subjects? Are the subjects folders or tags is another way of thinking about this, even though that's getting a little bit more into the concrete design. How do you structure these things? One way to approach conceptual design is to create an explicit conceptual model. A conceptual model is a high-level description of how a system is organized and operates. It specifies and describes the major design metaphors and analogies employed by the design, if any, the concepts the system exposes to the users, including the task domain data, objects that users can create and manipulate, and their attributes and the operations that can be performed on them. For a calendar application, you might have events. That's a type of data, a data object that users can manipulate, and it has attributes like the duration, the start time, the time zone that it exists in. The relationships between these concepts, are there, if there are 2 events, are they co-located in time? Do they start at different times? Do they conflict, etc.? There might be a name for an event that's an attribute of that event. And the mappings between the concepts and the task domain, the system is designed to support. So what does Alexa mean? How does Alexa relate to the different things that happen in the system? As you know, I believe the best way is to try it yourself. Follow the instructions on Learn to choose a voice agent and create a small conceptual model for it. Make sure you talk about some of the metaphors or analogies that are used, what concepts are revealed to the users, and what relationships exist between those concepts. Go ahead.